The Ron Sedgy Show, so why don't you?
I needed money 'cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
You can try fighting the law all you want, but the law is always going to win. From politicians and celebrities to sports figures and business leaders, they're fighting the law. Now, here to sort out the nation's top legal news stories is America's favorite legal analyst, Royal Oakes. This is the Royal Oakes Show.
Robbing people with a 6-gun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Thank you, Mike Horn, and welcome to the Royal Oakes Show, and welcome to our co-host, Ken Jeffries. How you doing, Ken?
Hi, what a week.
Amazing week. Plenty to talk about, and welcome to our millennial correspondent, Connor Oakes. How you doing, Connor?
Very well. Happy to be here as always.
This is a big show. Jose Arana is no longer going to be our engineer, board op, executive producer.
Just
passing
not fair.
the baton to Mr. Michael Gary. So we've got to do a bang-up job here to send Jose off.
Where do we start banging things up? That's what.
Let's
bring a hammer. Or
Let's start with telling folks that, of course, it's dessert first at the Royal Oakes Show. We're going to talk about all the wacky, crazy stuff that happened during the week. We'll get the broccoli later. We're definitely going to talk about the cell phone privacy Supreme Court deal, sales tax for online sales. Trump is splitting the baby when it comes to family separation.
Oh, yeah.
But lots of weird and wacky stuff to start out with. We've got our Moron of the Week feature. And actually, usually, guys, we have two morons to consider. I think we've got like 7 or 8. It's been a really stupid week.
A really dumb week.
Yeah, we'll get to Peter Fonda in a minute. He may be the king of the morons.
No, I don't.
But here's one that was close to my heart in terms of moron candidates. His name is Darrell Rydell, but actually
Darrell Rydell?
Actually, his name is Darrell Royal Rydell. His middle name is the same as my first name.
Royal.
Wow.
And I got a feeling, he's from Texas, I got a feeling that they named him that because there was a Texas football coach named
Darrell
Royal.
Darrell
Years
Royal.
ago, people would mistakenly say, "Oh, hi, Darrell," to me because they were thinking Darrell Royal. So Darrell Rydell, he's stopped by a cop, some suspicion of drunk driving.
Okay.
And so,
Innocent until proven guilty.
It happens, innocent until proven guilty. But he gets out of the car, and he's holding a beer can, and before he speaks with the cop, he chugs the rest of the beer.
That's just smart. You just got to get rid of that. Got to get rid of it.
Isn't
ASAP.
it maybe smart? Because when the cop gives him the test,
Yeah.
doesn't that give his lawyer the right to say, well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the reason his number was off the chart is because of what he chugged after he stopped driving.
You get out of the car. I'm totally sober, officer. You chug it, and you can be drunk on the side of the road.
Sure, why
That's
not?
allowed.
Tiger Woods proved that. So, okay, maybe he was crazy like a fox. He told investigators he was scared when he fled in his pickup truck. He gets out of the truck, chugs the beer. His previous charges, several DUIs. He was charged with fleeing from a deputy, felony DUI, and being a candidate for Moron of the Week. So hopefully things will go better for him. Second moron candidate, I think, would be anybody who buys a milkshake from a fancy New York restaurant. They're trying to get publicity. It's called Serendipity 3. And Ken, do you want to guess how much they charge folks for a milkshake?
For a milkshake?
It's just
I'd
a
say
milkshake.
$10.
Hold on. Let's
because this is New York.
This
is
New
New
York,
York City.
ridiculous.
Okay, $20.
They gouge tourists. They make it a $35 milkshake with like imported vanilla or.
Oh, you're on the right track.
$100.
Goat's milk.
Is it $100 milkshake?
$100. Okay, so here's what you get. The glass is covered with Swarovski crystals. Do you have any idea what Swarovski crystals are? I don't think you get to keep them.
But I think Mr. Swarovski is looking for them now.
Probably.
Why does it cost more to have the glass have
because it's pretty.
crystals on it?
Jersey milk made from cow's bread in the Channel Islands. Tahitian vanilla ice cream.
There we are.
Slow-grown.
That's how they
You know what?
vanilla
We can get it here then if they're bred in the Channel Islands.
Yeah, that's not exactly.
Ventura and Oxnard.
Maybe it's a local
You're taking the
specialty.
bloom off of the milkshake there, Ken. Devonshire luxury clotted cream. See, clotted cream
That
doesn't
doesn't sound good at all.
sound appetizing to me because I think of clotted blood.
I
God.
think it's,
Madagascar vanilla beans, 23-karat edible gold.
Whoa,
a
okay, there we
shimmering,
are.
glimmering golden sparkle.
I found-
donkey caramel sauce from donkey's milk and Piedmont hazelnuts. So
Wait.
anybody who buys the damn $100
$98.
milkshake
It
is a
costs
moron.
$98 for the description.
Yeah.
Our third moron
Wow.
candidate. We're going wild with morons today, guys. There was this guy that shows up at the restaurant. He's got a little spending ability because he's just stolen a credit card out of a purse in a car, and so
Great
he sits
idea.
down and he has a nice meal and he hands the waitress the credit card. It's her card. He tries to buy the meal with the stolen credit card. So this guy is, I think, definitely deserves to be
He's
on our
top tier.
list.
Considered,
He's
yeah.
top tier
Yeah.
moron.
I hope he gave her a good tip anyway.
Yeah.
With her money, with her card, yeah.
So here we are now in Helsinki, Finland, another moron candidate. There's a garden snake that's frightening a Finlandian. And so this guy, he's a brain surgeon, he decides he will solve the problem by spraying the snake with gasoline. But there's a power mower chugging away in the corner of the yard, and he accidentally sprays the power mower, which triggers a fire which burns down his house.
But what happened to the
To the
snake?
snake.
Oh, the snake was laughing his ass off.
Yeah.
So we've got so many candidates.
How does a snake, by the way, how does a snake do that? Laugh their ass off.
Beats
Do they
me. What
even
am I, some
have
sort
an
of
ass? I don't-
herpetologist?
Yeah, ooh, that was good. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice use of-
Herpetologist.
That was good.
I had that disease once. And I had to go see a herpetologist.
So our final moron of the
Herpes
week
was-
candidate is, of course, the famous Peter Fonda. He did not have a good week.
No.
Apparently, he got really worked up over this separating the family deal
Right.
at the border. And so, as we all know, he decided to announce on Twitter that he hopes that Baron Trump is ripped from Melania's arms and put in a cage with pedophiles. What the hell was he thinking?
You know,
now he did
I don't think
apologize.
he was
He
thinking.
He did have a sincere apology. Maybe his agent said he had to if he ever
Yeah.
wants to make Easy Rider 2. But yeah, what is? I mean, what goes through somebody's mind to say something so horrific as that?
Well, they get extremely worked up about what their political opponents are doing, and they
Right.
try and draw the comparison. They try to say, what if it was you with your child separated and your child put in a cage and you shipped off to parts unknown and you have no contact and no idea where that person's going, and they take it too far. They take it to an extreme and they become that which they hate, which is, well, okay, I'm not going to say he became that which he hated, because that which he's angry at is actually ripping children from their parents' arms and separating them and putting kids in chain link cages. What he became is someone who said an insensitive and offensive
but it's
thing with no ground.
But it's counterproductive. It's like
Yeah, of course.
De Niro
Yes.
dropping the F-bomb at the Tonys. I mean, people were saying, they were reacting by saying, Donald Trump just got reelected. That is going to so embolden his base
Yeah.
that the people are going to turn out because they hate the Hollywood elite. And I think Peter Fonda just contributed to the same phenomenon.
Yeah.
Maybe, well,
probably.
maybe, and
Yeah.
it's possible, but
I think
you know, but
it's very important not to.
who knows?
Yeah, it's we don't know yet, and I think it's also important not to say because something was strategically wrong that it was morally wrong. It was morally wrong on its own grounds because it was an insensitive and offensive thing to say that was truly different. Now, the government is not putting kids in cages with pedophiles, and they're not doing, I mean, they're doing a terrible thing that the UN has now said is probably torture, but it's not exactly that, and that would be, completely
Well, it's not
indefensible.
summer camps, and it's not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call them cages. I don't. They look bigger than that on television, but
Sure.
but we don't know. We're not there, and
I mean, we've got cameras in
You
there.
know,
We're
it's like
basically
here we-
there. We
well,
got Melania visiting and
but
giving
we
the
don't
tour.
have. But you have to. Well, these mayors are going down now to visit, and
Well,
now
basically-
the mayors are. It's a photo op, and I understand that.
Yeah.
The mayors, the mayors went
shame.
down. They probably knew they would be denied admission by Homeland Security.
Of course.
Well, the whole thing.
Maybe they were hoping they'd be denied so they can complain about it.
I think it's
But
just.
I don't know, and I wish someone would actually get to the truth of this.
Yeah, maybe
instead
some
of this-
investigative reporters will get in there. But I think the bottom line is a lot of it is fueled by anger against Trump.
Yeah.
Now, guys, we have our relatively new feature, Guess the Verdict. Are you ready to guess some verdicts
Yes,
and see what
absolutely.
you're actually tied. You're both batting 333. You've gotten
are.
1/3 answers correct. So we're going to have
Okay.
3 cases, folks. I'm going to give the facts, and our panel is going to guess the verdict. So case
Our
number
esteemed
1.
panel.
Harvey Taylor heads into the woods near Bangor, Maine, with police in hot pursuit. The pursuit soon grows cold, so cold that over a period of days, Taylor suffers a case of frostbite, losing 3 toes. He's captured, but he sues the police department for being so slow to pick him up, thus exposing him to the elements. So the lawsuit is pending against the police department. Who do we think wins this suit? Connor, you have a guess?
Okay. I think that he's going to tell a compelling story that they boxed him in and had him in their grasp, but simply left him freezing. Intentionally left him freezing in the forest to punish him for no good reason. And I think he's the victor.
Okay, Ken, what do you think?
I disagree.
Yeah, Ken's right.
Circle gets the square. It's like Hollywood Squares all of us. I disagree. Okay.
Absolutely. Case number 2. Ralph Forbes, pastor of the Sword of Christ Good News Ministries in Little Rock, Arkansas, really hates Halloween.
I love that.
So much so that he files a class action in federal court seeking an order to stop public schools from sanctioning Halloween observances. The plaintiffs were listed as Jesus Christ and all Christian children. The defendants are Satan and all high priests of secular humanism. Okay, guys, what's your guess? Ken, you get to go first this time. Who wins? Ralph Forbes, Pastor Ralph, or the defendants?
Which would be
Satan,
which would be the school district, right?
Well, it's Satan and all high priests of secular humanism, so it's a little vague.
I think the defendants in that case.
I think, yes.
Okay,
this is a win
guess,
for
Ken?
Satan as well.
What happens if you can't prove the defendants exist?
Yeah.
Well, also, the judge pointed out it's tough to serve them with subpoenas.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It really is. You're both right. Ralph Forbes loses. Third and final case, guys. A 27-year-old Michigan man suffers a rear-end collision. 4 years later, he sues the owners of the truck that caused the accident. In addition to minor physical injuries, he claims that from then on, his sexual relationship with his wife deteriorated, his personality changed, he became gay, he left his wife, and began hanging out in gay bars. He sues for all of these things that he said happened to him as a result of the rear-end collision. Connor, what would you guess? Who wins this big lawsuit?
I'm going to dodge nimbly around the he got rear-ended and then turned gay joke potential.
You've nimbly dodged.
And say he wins because he really did get rear-ended, and all his ridiculous claims, the jury's just going to go, okay, this guy's wild, his sexuality has changed.
Okay.
All right, this is a good excuse. Sometimes you need a little help coming out of the closet, and this guy, the jury, can be the help that he needs to, take that leap. So
you're on record. He wins.
That he wins.
Yeah,
we're gonna get it.
No,
Ken, what's your guess?
I believe it's the opposite.
Oh, come on.
He wins $200,000.
Victory!
From who? He wins the manufacturers of the truck, whatever it was. The
driver, Ram truck.
Ram,
who knows?
The Ram.
Who knows?
The Ram.
And his wife won $25,000, so she didn't walk away empty-handed, except she had to take the wedding ring off because it was over.
Right.
All right, you guys did pretty well. I think you actually upped your average.
We did. Good job, Ken.
Yeah, we kind of did.
So name changes have been in the news lately. After all the down south, we wanted to get rid of the Confederate examples, statues, and so on. There was a name change this week. Richmond, Virginia elementary school switched its name from a Confederate general to Barack Obama. And, a lot of people
Barack Obama Elementary. That was a 6-1 decision by the school board. I heard an interview with the one dissenter, and she believed very strongly that it should have been a local name, and her attitude was, Barack's going to get lots of stuff named after him, okay? Let's honor some local heroes.
Well, the problem I have is that Woodrow Wilson was a really bad guy. He was a racist. He was a segregationist. Sure. Yeah. But people worship him for his progressive politics, but he was a segregationist. So why don't we get rid of Wilson High in Glendale? Why don't we change it to Barack Obama High School? I don't think we have a Barack Obama High in Los Angeles, do we? And George Washington and Jefferson owned slaves, guys.
It's true.
Why shouldn't we change Washington State's name
but they weren't
to
primarily,
Barack Obama State?
They weren't primarily known and famous for being Confederate generals who fought for slavery. They did good things, but also had failings.
That's a good point. When we come back, Donald Trump does split the baby down at the border. We're going to get into the whole sales tax for online sales. Stay with us on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show.
Hi, everyone. This is Fred Dreyer. You listen to me every week on the Sports Lounge. Well, I'm here to tell you my good friend and co-host, Michael Horn, is making his wine knowledge and his incredible industry contacts available to you. Mike will educate you in the world of wines. He will stock your wine cellar, wine refrigerator, or wine rack with one-of-a-kind wines. Also, as a lover of a great glass of port, I will share with you my experiences in finding the cigars that fit your palate. I will help you stock your humidor with great cigars that reflect your growing taste and the very best smokes for your budget. Mike and I can set up a once-in-a-lifetime wine dinner, and I can host a sports cigar party. Call us today at 818-818-6400. That's 818-818-6400. Let us find the dream wines and cigars of your lifetime.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
Experience the romantic getaway you deserve at Maui's premier bed and breakfast, the Plantation Inn. With plantation-style architecture and decor combined with modern amenities such as dual rain showers and whirlpool hot tubs, guests relax in a tranquil oasis in the heart of Maui's historic Lahaina town. The inn is situated conveniently less than 2 blocks from Lahaina Harbor, as well as the famous Front Street, known for its range of shops, restaurants, gallery walks, and museums. The Plantation Inn is home to Gerard's Restaurant, voted Open Table's top most romantic restaurants in North America. Chef Gerard's contemporary island French cuisine consistently earns some of the highest ratings in Hawaii. Come discover why Hawaii Magazine readers named the Plantation Inn #1 best bed and breakfast in Hawaii. Visit theplantationinn.com or call us at 667-9225.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our millennial correspondent Connor Oak.
Hey.
So we've had our broccoli. Our dessert ready for our broccoli. Before we get to the broccoli, though, a little more dessert. I wanted to get your take on the Melania jacket.
Oh my
mystery.
God!
What exactly was it that was on the back of her
$39
jacket?
I don't care. Do you?
The 30 it says, "I really don't care."
Do you?
And then the letter U.
The letter U? Question mark.
So and people were saying she was hot when she got on the plane. It was hot when she got off the plane.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, and so
completely unnecessary jacket. Obvious fashion and statement choice.
And because she's such a fashion maven. She's, a gorgeous model,
Right.
hugely expensive clothing.
Life of a purported billionaire, yes.
Yeah, $39 for this jacket. So how in the world could it not have been a statement?
It is, absolutely.
So, and of course her staff says, it's just a jacket, stop bothering me. I want to move on to something else.
Which is immediately contradicted by her husband, who goes on and tweets and says, this was an intentional statement saying to the fake news media,
so that made no sense.
Clearly a lie.
He made that up.
Right.
So what do we think it conceivably could have meant?
The only way it makes any sense to me is she is completely unaware of where she is being sent and what she is being sent to do, and she is just taking this opportunity because she is completely tone deaf and is just unhappy with her life. She wanted to be the trophy
could
wife.
Trigger a Secret Service interview with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Unhappy
with her life.
Call for help.
She married the wrong, arrogant, cheating billionaire, and she just wanted to be some rich idiot's trophy wife, and instead she accidentally became the first lady, and this is her lashing out at the public and at her life and saying, this isn't how it's supposed to go. I just want to live my life in my own gold-encrusted penthouse the way it was written up in my plans.
Is there something else at work in that? I just thought of this, and it's really kind of crazy. Is there somebody in the White House, a mole in the White House, this White House that leaks all the time?
A mole in her closet.
Well, somebody who wanted to shame the administration, who deliberately had her wear that
sartorial spy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Does she... Well, she reads English, I guess. She can understand.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yes,
so
can.
I don't know.
I'm convinced she reads English.
I don't know how. She must be a more...
Okay, well, never mind then.
She must be a more intimidating figure than I have heard or think. Her staff has got to be completely frightened of her to an extent that is beyond comprehension.
Strange.
That somebody didn't tackle her on the way out the door and say, "What are you doing?"
No, Connor, we've
that.
come up with the answer. It's Ken. I don't know why I didn't think of this.
Oh.
She speaks 5 or 6 languages.
Right.
She just hasn't gotten around to learning how to read English.
That's it.
So
yeah.
You stumbled onto it, Ken.
I don't think so.
You're going to get an interview with the Secret Service, too.
Oh, my God.
Jose and I are the only ones in this room who aren't going to be quizzed by the Secret Service.
I don't think so. No, maybe it was a statement that she's angry at something. I don't
Could
know.
be.
God.
Next item I wanted to
Who
get
knows?
into before
Weird.
the separation of family story is actually it's related to that. I wanted to get your take on Trump's press conference with families of victims of illegal immigrants killing people.
Right.
Now, I thought when I saw this, my gosh, he's done it again. This is like a PR coup because remember, he was just about dead and buried as a presidential candidate when the Billy Bush tape hit.
Yeah.
And he turned it around by assembling Kathleen Woolley and all the rest of them who claimed that they'd been harassed or raped or groped or sexually assaulted by Bill Clinton. Lined them up. And these women, I think a lot of people believe them. I think it turned it around. It probably saved the campaign for Trump. And I wonder if he just sort of sensed that that's a successful technique. And obviously it's not that he was necessarily on the defensive now. He was, but he kind of turned it around with his executive order.
Right.
Do you think that he's just sort of learned that this is a good technique to line folks up and get the message across? Let's add a human face to the victims of crime.
Yeah, I think that this is a very, very effective technique, and it's a technique that it's not like he invented it. It's not even like Hitler invented it. They both just used it to good effect. They both lined up the victims of crimes committed by the groups they don't like, Jews, the crimes committed by Jews. Hitler lined up a bunch of victims and said, look at all these poor people whose family members were torn from their arms when they were murdered by a Jewish person.
Are you saying Hitler lined up victims
in
sort of press conference?
Yeah.
I missed that in my history class.
Now, Hitler didn't hold press conferences, but he highlighted the victims of Jewish crime in the same way that Trump is now highlighting the victims of the crimes of illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. This completely despite and against the fact that illegal immigrants are demonstrably statistically less likely to commit violent crimes than U.S. citizens. This is a complete a warping of the facts to try and prove something that doesn't exist.
Right. But then he also signed the pictures of the dead.
Oh my God!
And one guy said one guy was more handsome than Tom Selleck.
This is what I want. I want a 5-foot-tall photo of my dead child signed by Donald Trump. That is the ultimate souvenir.
And he misidentified the mayor of San Diego.
A little bit tone deaf.
Yeah.
Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about whether or not he successfully turned things around with the executive order about the kids at the border. So stay with us on the Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Hey Lorraine, do you realize that your mother, my mother-in-law, Chef Maria, has been serving Las Vegas since 1949?
Yes, I do, Dennis. That's when she first met Howard Hughes, who fell in love with her cooking.
And in 1955, she opened her first restaurant on Fremont Street.
Yes, dear. And another great customer was Liberace.
Wow. Then in 1962, while Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack were causing global excitement on the Las Vegas Strip, your family opened their second restaurant.
And in 1970, 1972, Elvis Presley began electrifying Las Vegas audiences and eating in our restaurants.
You know, Lorraine, this is quite a town. There's only one Las Vegas.
And there's only one Bootlegger Italian Bistro.
Folks, when you're in Las Vegas, come visit us. We'll make you feel like you're part of our family.
The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, conveniently located at 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard, South Strip. Visit our website at www.bootleggerlasvegas.com.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
It has been said that everyone has a book in them. But do you have the time or the ability to write your book? Maybe you picked up some skills or had a life experience that you want to pass on in the form of a book to help others. Maybe you want to leave an autobiography for your family. Or maybe you've built a successful business and you want to share your story. At Dorrance Publishing Company, we have professional writers who can help turn your book idea into a finished manuscript quickly and affordably. A Dorrance ghostwriter can provide as much or as little help as you need to complete your book. You'll work directly with your ghostwriter to finish your book faster than you ever could on your own. It's easy to become a published author. Call Dorrance now to learn more. 800-485-8803. 800-485-8803. 800-485-8803. Call right now. That's 800-485-8803.
Aloha! Experience your home away from home being beachfront at the Kaanapali Beach Hotel. Begin your getaway relaxing on over 11 acres of tropical Hawaiian gardens at Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel, voted Best Aloha Spirit by Hawaii magazine readers. Just walking around the grounds with all the tropical vegetation, relaxing poolside, or kicking back in the sun on the world-renowned Kaanapali Beach makes you feel like you're home in paradise. There's a package to fit all your needs: wedding, honeymoon, activities, private parties, great food, or just good old beach fun. The hotel perpetuates the Hawaiian tradition at its best. Call 661-0011 or visit kbhmaui.com.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries and our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes. So the family separation thing, I mean, it really galvanized the nation. And Trump flip-flopped. And a lot of people are saying, well, okay, so it's not going to be a devastating issue for him and the Republicans in the midterms. I think that's probably right. It's interesting to me, though, that he would backtrack, he would cave in, when that's contrary to his DNA.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was presented with these, horrible racists, violent racists in the South, and he couldn't bring himself to just condemn them. And people said, what's wrong with you? You won't condemn white racism. Yeah. And he wouldn't back down. He just, he wouldn't change. And yet he somehow sensed that in this case, he's got to change.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the only time I've ever seen him apologize was for the Billy Bush tape.
Right.
So do you think it was just that he sensed that this was so radioactive, this is like the third rail, that he had to switch?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think imprisoning children and separating them from their parents, and that strikes such a chord with people that they're going to react horribly. And even his supporters see it as a bridge too far. And while they might sort of grit their teeth and say, oh, this is something we have to do, it's not something his base can get excited about.
Right.
It can't feel good about it. And I think that is a fundamental problem. His crazy and periodically racist, frequently racist policies have to be something that can excite his base. And when your base is just sort of grudgingly being dragged along, he doesn't really care about these policies. He really cares about the hype and the PR machine. So if it's bad PR, that's when he actually has to change. But only when it's bad PR, not when it's just bad policy. I mean, Jeff Sessions even flip-flopped on this, and he's not somebody you generally see flip-flop. He'll also stick to his guns. But he out and out lied and went on Christian. He went on Christian radio to lie and say, we never intended to separate. It was just sort of an accident, a part of byproduct of us enforcing the law. When he had previously gone down to the southern border and given his speech based on a prepared speech, not off the cuff even, where he said, if you smuggle kids across our border, we will prosecute you criminally and we will separate your kids from you. As, he didn't say as punishment,
Right.
But he's there giving a speech explaining that it is a punishment.
Well, bottom line is, it sounds like Trump, he's kind of like one of those robots in Westworld. He's learning. It's artificial intelligence.
One
he's
of those
becoming a better politician.
He doesn't look like Yul Brynner. Yeah,
that's true.
But anyway, that's you never know. But it's I think Ivanka had some words with him.
Oh, that's
maybe
possible,
Melania or Melanie, as he sometimes tweets.
And they made a big deal of the fact that all the living first ladies, Mrs. Obama and Laura Bush and so on,
right.
came
Rosalind
out
Carter,
steadfastly against this. I'm surprised that, I want to hear from the dead first ladies, because Mamie Eisenhower and Nancy Reagan, they might have had a contrary opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm a little cynical, because I think anything Laura Bush says about this president is because she's angry that low-energy Jeb was crushed by the Trump juggernaut.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a couple of big Supreme Court decisions that were issued this week. One is online sales tax, and the other is cell phone privacy. So the online sales tax was interesting. The Supreme Court flip-flopped. In 1992, the Supreme Court issued a decision that said, you know what? If you're selling stuff online, if the seller isn't in North Dakota or Oregon or California, they shouldn't have to pay sales tax.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense, because if I open up an online store and somebody wants to purchase something from my store and I'm sitting here in California, I might not even know where they live, and then I allow them to buy it, and then they say ship it to North Dakota, and all of a sudden I'm subject to North Dakota sales tax and laws. Why? I live in California and I sell things here. They came to my website.
So the Supreme Court seems to be recognizing the fact that the internet is just taking over everything, and they're saying, okay, if you're making an online sale, it doesn't matter where Amazon's fulfillment center is, you've got to pay the sales tax on that transaction.
Yeah. And I think you're right. It's a recognizing of the changing of the internet. The perspective that I just laid out was a very 90s view of the internet. You go to my website and visit me in California on Connor.com or whatever. We all understand that online retail is universal. It is global now. That is the way commerce works. And so, if you're offering something up for sale, you're really saying, I'm putting it out there to be bought by anybody, anywhere, and I'll ship it wherever you want. You really should be subject to
stuff
South
is going to
Dakota's
cost
law.
more. They say $33 billion is going to go into the coffers of state and local governments. And this is on top of the Supreme Court a couple of months ago saying, well, sports gambling, that's fine. That, too, is going to put billions
and
more.
it should benefit California, a state Trump, observers would say Trump hates.
Right.
And New York, another state which Trump supposedly, according to observers, hates.
Yeah.
Because they went for Hillary, but it'll benefit the flyover states as well.
So let's talk about the cell phone privacy decision.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting mix of this 5-4 split. We hear about that, usually conservatives versus the liberals. The 5 were Chief Justice Roberts and the 4 liberals.
Yeah.
Kagan, Sotomayor, Breyer, and Ginsburg. So what they said was, okay, you got your cell phone, and as you move around and you travel 5, 10, 20 miles, your cell goes ping, ping, ping to a tower, and then when you keep moving another 5 miles, a new tower picks up your ping, and so the cell phone companies can reconstruct, Bill went from here to there to there to there,
Right.
and they got a guy named Timothy Carpenter who had a string of fast food robberies, and they proved that, the cell phone tower data proves Timothy moved from one store to another, that they were bumped off off, and so we can prove he's guilty.
Right.
But the Supreme Court said, no, you can't get that information from the
Without a
cell phone
warrant.
without a warrant.
Yeah.
Before, you could just get it with a subpoena.
Yeah.
A subpoena, just if it's pertinent to the case, you don't have to have the higher standard of probable cause. You get if you have a search warrant, that has to be justified by probable cause. We have to have a reasonable suspicion.
What's really the difference? That's interesting. What's the difference then?
The difference is you got to go to a judge and you got to say, I
what
think
about,
there
but
is
what about a
probable cause.
subpoena? You don't have to go to
No,
a judge.
you just send a letter basically to the cell phone company, and the cell phone company says, okay, we got to comply. That's a subpoena.
And that's sent from law enforcement itself, not from a... Right.
In criminal cases,
if it's in a civil case, then the parties to the civil case are entitled.
And again, folks, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't play one on TV. These guys do. Okay.
So it's interesting to me that the court is moving. For example, several years ago, if you go to a hotel or a motel and you register, in the old days, Joe Friday, the cops could show up to the Ramada Inn and say, all right, I want to know if Mary Smith was here, and they'd hand it over. Now, they can't hand that over. Some people are critical of this decision. They're saying, why are you tying the hands of law enforcement? It's not like they're going after the content of a phone call. They're not wiretapping. It's not even, who did he speak to, who called him, or who did he call, or text messages. It's simply his physical location.
Right.
But the civil libertarians say, well, several years ago, the Supreme Court said the cops can't stick a GPS device under the hood of a car surreptitiously because, we're worried about Big Brother.
Yeah.
Do we like this trend by the Supreme Court?
I like the trend by the Supreme Court to say this is we're drawing a line here. Your geographic location is something the cops really need probable cause in order to go get and see the records of. I think personally that's a good attitude because I think you've got to draw lines, and I don't think it's too big a burden for law enforcement to get subpoenas, or rather to get warrants to find out information that is of that type and of that personal and specific stuff. And I think the dissent's argument, which is the conservatives who dissented, said, we think that people generally know that they're putting their geographic location out in the world when they have a cell phone, and that cell phone collects data about their geographic location. They're giving it to a third party. They're giving it to a cell phone company.
Right.
We think they know they've made it public, and they don't have an expectation of privacy as to it. Come on, conservatives. You don't even know how to get your own values right. Like, you're supposed to be protect the individual and,
individual rights.
Yeah,
right.
protect the individual
rights.
from the big brother and big government. Like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't the conservatives the ones saying protect my personal data and get out of my life, government? Instead, they're the ones saying, oh, law enforcement, do whatever you want.
Well, one of the arguments by the conservative bloc was that for years the courts have relied on what they call the third-party doctrine, meaning that if a third party other than the alleged bad guy is actually the holder, the repository of the data, then
the cell phone company.
Yeah, the cell phone company. It's okay to go to them.
Right.
But that's swimming against the stream here because, I mean, what Chief Justice Roberts is saying and has said in recent decisions is, the cell phone is sort of a symbol of how our life has changed. When you carry your cell phone around, and everybody does all the time, basically,
100%.
You basically are carrying around your whole life, all of your contacts, your communications, your emails to and from, your texts to and from, your innermost thoughts, and so on. So there is a greater protectiveness by the courts against trying to invade people's privacy. And, of course, the touchstone has always been, does a person have a reasonable expectation of privacy? Right. That's the phrase that the courts struggle to apply. And, for example, you probably remember from law school, I can remember sitting in jail. Do you have a reasonable expectation of privacy? A lot of people would say, yeah, but in fact, most courts say no. If you're in jail, and you're talking to somebody, even your lawyer, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy because you're incarcerated, and people actually listen in on conversations between inmates and their attorneys, and judges have upheld it. And it's,
I think you have to assume nowadays you're never alone.
Yeah.
Like it or not, you always have to assume somebody's listening.
Right.
In.
Yeah. This.
That's the way it's just the way it is.
Yeah. This decision is, I think, a product of our times, and exactly that notion. The third-party doctrine is on its way out and is, I think, dying because public opinion is that yeah, third parties have our information. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't live my life in a way that prevents my cell phone company from knowing my location.
You apply for a credit card. You apply for anything.
We live in such a connected world, in such a data-soaked world where third parties, companies, governments, everyone, I don't know, the Russian government, is collecting information on all of us. So, and we have no way to stop it. So what do you want me to do? I'm trying to maintain privacy in every way I can, but I can't live in a cave.
As soon as you come out of the womb, they ought to have a little sign that, even though, of course, you can't read yet.
Check the box to accept the end user
license. Unless you're the
life.
president of North Korea, then you can read right away.
Right, instantly, and play golf too. Sure.
Yeah. Well, it's sad to me because they say character is what you do when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Well, now everybody's watching all the time, so there's no more character.
No more character. It doesn't exist.
That's a shame. So 4 years ago, the U.S. Supreme Court decided that authorities need a warrant to search the contents of a cell phone.
Yeah.
Even though there were a lot of precedents that the court had relied on before 2014, letting cops examine address books, matchbooks, other items found on somebody who has been arrested, even without probable cause. But the courts, I think, are just recognizing this is a brand new world. It's a brave new world, and everything is stored electronically.
Yeah.
So I wanted to celebrate diversity here, guys, because this is college graduation season. It's commencement season.
Yes, it is.
And the diversity that we see, I got this article out of the New York Times. They talked about 12 commencement speakers, various colleges around the country.
Okay.
And you had Oprah Winfrey, she's progressive. Amy Wambach, she's a soccer champion. She's very progressive. Christine Lagarde, the IMF head, very progressive. Robin Farrow. Anita Hill, the accuser against Clarence Thomas, progressive. Hillary is progressive. A novelist named Adichie. Justin Trudeau. Cynthia Nixon. Amal Clooney, Georgia's.
By the way, they let Justin Trudeau back in this country to do this?
I'm surprised. And Chadwick Boseman, he's a star of Black Panther.
Chad Boseman.
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson.
I didn't mention Mike Pence, Vice President.
Oh,
so
that's pretty good.
One out of 12 was conservative and against the
white.
And that's diversity, guys. And do you know why it's diversity?
Why?
Because they've done studies and they found that if you ask college professors if they're progressive or conservative, it's only 4%. And the 1 out of 12...
Overrepresented.
1 out of 12 is 8%. So, guys, absolutely, this was diversity in commencement speakers.
I mean, when you think about it, college students are generally overwhelmingly liberal. I think that's not a crazy statement. Depending on where you go, you can find a conservative college anywhere, of course. But overall, young people and college-educated people generally are more progressive. So we're not picking commencement speakers that they will dislike. Why would you? Generally, you'd have to be super duper duper famous and important, like, I don't know, the vice president, to be picked to be a commencement speaker. If the audience is already going to be stacked against you politically and opinion-wise, it's inevitable that you're going to pick people that the audience wants.
I just think it's a shame that when you have these young, malleable minds in colleges around the country, that 96% of the people drilling the philosophy into the minds of these malleable kids are progressives. To me, it just doesn't seem fair. It's just the way academia has evolved over the last 50 or 60 years.
I think this is part of the overall narrative of we're brainwashing our kids with progressive values. I think in reality, commencement speeches are mainly like, do what you love and you're going to do great and well done. They're not up there saying
you'll never work a day in your life if you do what you
exactly.
love.
Nobody's up there saying like abortion is a moral wrong on the they would get booed off the stage if they brought politics into it.
Well, but the infuriating thing for those of us on the right side of the spectrum is the complaints. This week we saw the complaints about Fox. There's this huge argument about immigration coverage and a lot of people involved in entertainment shows as part of
Seth MacFarlane. Seth MacFarlane, who's what they call a showrunner for Family Guy and some of the others.
And he's star. He's the creator. Yeah, he's the head guy.
He is. But it's the Fox Entertainment brand at war with Fox News Channel.
Right.
And that's probably going to stop soon because I think did Disney, and I have to ask Sarah Mednick, our entertainment insider, when she comes back in a couple of weeks. I thought I read that Disney did buy Fox. At least they sweetened the offer to buy Fox.
Well, they upped the bid.
They upped the bid.
$71 billion from $50 billion.
If that happens, then maybe it's a non-story anymore because everybody at Fox, except for Fox News Channel, and maybe except for the Fox TV stations,
Business,
I don't know. Right, the Fox Business Channel, that would all stay with Murdoch, but Fox Entertainment would would become part of Disney.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
And there'll be a ton of layoffs too, by the way, because of overlapping.
And Fox
jobs
News
and
is not going to be sold to
But
Disney.
anyway.
The thing that ticked me off though was the Modern Family creator Steve Levitan plus Seth MacFarlane. They're freaking out about Fox News being conservative, and I'm thinking to myself, excuse me, do you want it all, Seth? You have ABC, CBS, and NBC. You have CNN. You have MSNBC and CNBC. You have New York Times and Los Angeles Times. Would it be okay if there's one media outlet in the entire nation from sea to shining sea that is right of center? Apparently not.
And real quick, McFarlane has taken plenty of shots at Fox on Family Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And
he has a lot
we
of
might
fun.
say gotten away with it because, I guess Fox thought
tremendous
it was
show.
okay.
I think the Sinclair.
The guy's a genius. I
think
love the show.
The Sinclair scandal has showed us that there are some conservative media outlets out there. They're just mostly local news and conservative radio.
So when we come back, John Oliver is in trouble in China. Big news on the Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show. Have you purchased a wine refrigerator or put a wine cellar in your home? Maybe you have a new wine rack. Great news, but what wines will you buy to stock your wine rack? Let me, Michael Horn, help. I'll find the wines for your wine cellar with your taste in mind. We'll determine what varietals, Cabernet, Pinot, Chardonnay, what types of wine, California, French, Italian, you like. We'll find you one-of-a-kind wines from all of our friends we interview daily on the What's Cookin' show and the What's Cookin' on Wine show. On a budget, we'll find you the best affordable wines. Want hard-to-get library wines? We can source those for you, too. And if you need cigars, let L.A. Rams sports legend and iconic actor Fred Dreyer make your selections. Hey, we could even host a wine dinner for you or set up a sports cigar party with Fred. Call me, Michael Horn, at the What's Cookin' Today show. Call 818-818-6400. That's 818-818-6400. Let us find the dream wines of your lifetime.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
You order a glass of your favorite Cabernet, fresh asparagus, hollandaise on the side, a filet, medium rare. You unfurl your napkin with a flair, close your eyes, and prepare to listen. Ah, there it is. The sweet music you long to hear. The sizzle. The sizzle of a Ruth's Chris steak.
The most magnificent corn-fed prime beef, broiled to perfection at 1800 degrees. Some call it a sizzle. We call it an anthem.
As the waiter approaches, you think, is this one mine or that one?
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Like Ruth always said, life's too short to eat anywhere else.
Make a reservation online at ruthschris.com or by calling 800-544-0808.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Tim Jeffries, our millennial correspondent Connor Oakes. So we do want to talk about John Oliver being in trouble with the head of China, but you had a good idea off air, Ken. We should talk about Charles Krauthammer.
Yeah, Charles
just
Krauthammer.
An amazing guy. I mean, being a right-of-center person, I just really appreciated his intellect, his appearances on Fox, his columns. I would look forward to hearing his take on issues. And what a story! I mean, goes to Harvard Medical School, and in his first year, freak diving accident. He's paralyzed. and he finishes with his class. They tutored him by his bedside. Kind of a liberal guy. He starts out in psychiatry, then he's interested in politics. Writes for the New Republic, speechwriter for Walter Mondale. Not exactly a big conservative, but he evolved. He changed, and he became right of center, sort of a neocon on the international scene. I saw him as an heir to William F. Buckley and George Will in terms of sort of the super intelligent guy who would really craft arguments beautifully.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, so I was just wondering what your take on him was, especially since I don't think either of you is positioned super far right. I mean, did you nonetheless appreciate his gifts and his contributions?
I think he was sort of a generation above me and spoke to a generation above me, and he wasn't really a public intellectual isn't really a public intellectual among millennials.
But everybody shares an interest in the top 5 or 10 issues of the day, whether it's immigration or abortion or capital punishment. And why would the generational divide kind of be a barrier between you and somebody like Krauthammer?
Well, I mean, I just didn't have enough exposure to him to develop a strong opinion. I think basically if you asked millennials who Charles Krauthammer was, 95% of them would say they wouldn't know.
Oh, see, I have Fox News on all day.
Oh, that's so funny.
And
it's so weird
when I would see him, then I would turn the sound up because the sound's off all day because I got to get some work done. Right. But when he was on, I'm telling you, I turned up the sound.
He seems to make sense. There are things I didn't agree with him with, but he seemed to be the kind of guy you could go have a beer with. And I mean, I could be wrong.
He was a big baseball fan. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's one of those things. He seemed to be a decent guy, and that's all I can say about it because that's all I really know about him.
To me, it's not like I want to speak ill of the guy, but it seemed like his analysis of political issues generally was well phrased, but not especially deep or nuanced. And so it never really appealed to me. It seemed to be more sizzle and steak, and that was kind of annoying. But it was good sizzle.
So, speaking of guys you'd want to have a beer with, I guess with John Oliver, it would have to be a Guinness.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be fun to spend time with him? And maybe you'll have an opportunity because maybe if the president of China, now how do you pronounce his name, Connor?
Xi Jinping.
Okay, so John Oliver's wonderful show last week tonight, where he skewers everybody and has a whole week to come up with great monologues and so on. Apparently, he compared the president of China to Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, he did.
And the president was so unhappy, he's banned the show from China.
Yeah, he's banned the show and banned the social media presence of John Oliver and his show from Chinese social media, which is more important, really, than banning John Oliver from entering the country, which is pretty irrelevant. But what John Oliver really did was highlight that she had already been so angry at people that people had made memes, jokes, images about Xi's resemblance to Winnie the Pooh, that she had cracked down, used the Chinese technological control of the internet to eliminate these images and ban them from the internet, punish people for putting them up, because he was so sensitive about his appearance, and that was what Oliver highlighted among other sort of steps.
Oliver said there are dystopian levels of surveillance and persecution of Muslims and the imprisonment of dissidents in China. So on a more substantive note.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, we have just about run out of time. We want to thank Jose Arana for the fabulous job he has done for us.
Absolutely. Week in, week
out.
Like
Gary, you've got big shoes to fill. It's been great working with you, Jose. Hot Tub Time Machine time. Let's honor 1968 and play us out.
Take a sad song and make it better. Remember
this has got to be one of the top rock shows in the history of rock and roll. Kind of sad. I think it was toward the end of the Beatles' tenure together. Have a great week, folks. See you again next week. Because that was your theme.
Are you tired of hearing your favorite talk radio show sound like this? What if you could hear your favorite shows in crystal clear, high-definition digital sound? Well, with CRN Digital Talk Radio's 6 channels of high-definition radio, you can now hear all of your favorite hosts like you've never heard them before in CRN HD. The difference is amazing. Catch your favorite political hosts like Dennis Prager, Tom Hartman,